people the second portion of their revenue. Can you just check that? The second level of your revenue is for your act, is to take care of yourself. Buy good food, healthy food, organic food. Second is within that, have a good accommodation, have good equipments, have good toys and tools as you continue. But that is not to the expense of your savings. Now, those days, they never had banks. They never had places where they could take their treasure. So it is said they used to dig in their own piece of land and they bury their treasure underground. Those are the hidden treasures. And you hear about these hidden treasures quite a lot in the Bible. Even in the book of Isaiah, the Lord says, I'll give you hidden treasures of darkness. No, is it hidden treasures of darkness? No, I'll give you I'll check that scripture. Somebody can check for me Isaiah 45. It's a very, very interesting scripture. But the point I wanted to say, and this is the most important one, is that they used to bury those treasures. And most likely they will not tell anybody else where the treasure is. So if you died and your treasures are buried, chances are nobody will ever know where your wealth is. So God says in several occasions, I'll give you the hidden treasures of darkness. What does that mean? I'll pinpoint for you. I'll pinpoint for you where these people who died buried their resources, buried their wealth. And so you just need to excavate it. The labor will be minimal. The wealth will be maximum. Now, that's what I've been working in my life for almost 30 years. Most of what I have today did not come through my hard work. I work hard. Don't get me wrong. This morning I went to bed at 3. Those who joined the Kesha, you know you left me on praying. I went to bed at 3. And I was early up, not because I chose to wake up so early, but people depend on me for guidance and instructions. And when they call, like this Saturday morning, yesterday and today, I cannot ignore the calls because what they are doing is a citywide strategy and I have to be involved. So how many hours did I sleep? Maybe 3-4 hours, maximum 5. But the point I'm trying to say, what makes you wealthy is not determined on how much energy you put in. In 2008, I taught a very powerful sermon, which I repeat time to time, that God created us to operate at the speed of thought. So God gives you the thought, He puts the thought in your heart, and that thought brings you to the resources. The thoughts, God holds your hand, and that thought becomes the source in which your transformation is experienced, your breakthroughs are experienced. So wealth equals thoughts. Wealth isn't equal labor. And no wonder the person who does the most labor gets the least. You're not getting me. A casual labor, and I have all respect for casual laborers, I have all respect for factory workers, I have respect of every human being. But I'm teaching you how to get wealth. And I cannot teach you without giving relevant illustration. So, thought is a very important asset that God gave to every human being. And in as far as getting the hidden treasures are concerned, your thoughts are critical. How you use your mind, how you use your brain. So, this is a good one. I still come back to the story, but I'm progressing in an interesting way. So, an ordinary labor will maybe get what is the casual labor in the countryside. A lawyer. What? Anybody who uses lawyers here? They range, just go for the cheapest one. Don't go for the big type of Safaricom lawyers and things like that. The cheapest lawyer per hour or per half an hour, they charge per half an hour. You have no idea. You know, you can't reach there without engaging lawyers. all the deals that are done, many business deals are legal deals. Any serious activity, whether you're buying a car, a motorbike, or maybe a motorbike, you might not use a lawyer, but it's important to have a legal engagement. So I'm just giving an example. I know of lawyers, my lawyers in the UK. The minimum they will charge you per consultation is about 500 pounds. No, not pounds. 500 pounds, you multiply that by 150 shillings, is how much? Is it 75,000 shillings per half an hour? So you have somebody who gets 200 shillings for 12 hours or 8 hours, and there's somebody who gets 75,000. What is the difference? Is how they decided to engage their brains, how they decided to engage their minds. If you can remember, in our last session, I came with multiple notebooks, and I was telling you, I use this to write this, and I use this to write this, and I use this to write this. Those who came from my overnight prayer meeting, which was online, I demonstrated, I told you, these red books, I'm going to use them. You know, it's working like a miracle because you are able to strategy document. Most of the banks, they have a strategy document in your life that you're not determined into getting wealth. And strategy document is something that is written down to demonstrate where you want to go. A strategy document is something that is put together to help us to achieve that which matters in our lives. So today, I want to say something that is very important in your life. Ensure that this is a foolproof strategy that has been tested before. God gives you ideas, but those ideas have to be engaged with the reality of today. So this man found the hidden treasure. He buried it back quickly. Why? Because he knew if anybody sees it and they have money, you just come and whisk the opportunity. So there's nothing wrong with hiding, with securing, with protecting what we call your intellectual property. That opportunity that you have seen and seen it, you document it nicely, you research it properly, you seal it properly, and you hide it. So that when people try to come, they have no opportunity of taking it away from you. Because all the people are not the same. There are people who only wait to see others who have developed amazing ideas and they want to take those ideas from them. There are people who wait to see people who have fully engaged with the commitments that they have made. And when they have made good headways, they come and take over. Mostly we call them business sharks. There's so many business sharks in this world. And their work is not to work. Their work, and it's not even to think. Their idea is to see how they can take over. Here in Kenya, we call it forced takeover, violent takeover. They come in and should talk to you and make sure that you are excited about what they can do. And before you know it, they have taken over that which is yours and that which belongs to you. So your strategy, as per this man with the hidden treasure, is to make sure that what you have found is protected, is saved, is sealed, and it cannot be taken away. Try to use foolproof strategies. So this guy, if it was our day-to-day, he would have gone to the bank, quickly secured a mortgage, or gone wherever else. But those days, because they could not secure any mortgages, what did he do? He went and sold everything that he had. He went and retired every other activity. He went and silenced every other voice. And he said, now my voice is headed to this direction. I'm one of those people who, when I see exactly where God wants me to bless me, I don't find it difficult to say to other things that I was just doing traditionally and socially and religiously and emotionally. You know, there's so many things we do for emotions. I don't want to have Kirago's emotion. I'll go for his funeral. So you start going to Kirago's funeral before he's dead, yeah? Are you getting the point? Kirago is laughing. There are things we do that we never need to do them. You start teaching people, pity party. You go and spend hours and hours talking to people about things that cannot help you and help them. You remember when we were young, when we used to get those roasted maize, you know, they were very sweet, and you spend hours. And then when you go home, you ask yourself, what was that all about? Instead of discussing progressive opportunities, progressive ideas, attending seminars, attending conferences, engaging with the current opportunities that are there, looking for exports, they're called exports, looking for programs that you can study and build yourself. So this guy buried this treasure. He said, I'm not ready for this world. This looks good. This is the right thing, but I'm not ready for it. He went and disciplined himself. He went and aligned himself. He went and made sure that everything that needed to be done to ensure that he doesn't miss this opportunity is done. What are you doing? You can say, I'm young, I'm in college, I'm in high school, I just started working, I just got married, I just got employed. None of those are excuses to stop you from preparing for your wealth. The first thing God has given me. My teacher used to call it medulla oblongata. I've tried to research which part of the medulla oblongata made the difference. But anyway, it was good to help us push and move on with life. But the point I want to make, and this is important, in making your strategy, you have to set up a formula that works every day in your life. It cannot be a strategy that is only in paper. Recently, after giving you the assignment, when I gave you the assignment, I was doing this. This was a strategy that I had. I was calling it the Groundbreaking Symposium Sponsorship Prospectus. I want to tell you what that symposium brought into our company. Maybe could be more than many people earn in a whole year. I came to you in September, I didn't have it. I went and designed it. I went to the United States, I left you, all of you here. I went and started applying this document, which I prepared after our first meeting, and it made an impact. Today, I'm sought out by very senior organizations and businesses, successful businesses, to talk about this vision. So this was a vision. It was not a building. It was not a car. It was not a plane. It was not a train. It was something that I thought, wrote it down, communicated it, and it is attracting resources. I'm being introduced to the who is who in that kind of field because we want to do it differently. We are engaging differently. We are performing differently. In December, I did another one, which I don't have here, and I'm sorry that I don't have it. It's a very interesting one. That's now a more complete booklet. This was a prospectus. And in that booklet, we articulated step by step what we want to do. That has taken things even to a higher level. Companies are coming from India, from China, from the United States. There are people arriving this next week from the US because of the next document that I did. You know, people say, but you know, Prof, you don't help us. We don't know how to, you know, we've been following you now. It's almost 6 months and our lives are still the same. First of all, show me what you've written. And I'll show you where to activate it. Because my role is not to write for you. My role is not to prepare the wealth for you. My role is to show you where the treasure is hidden. Are you finding where the treasure is hidden? Is anybody benefiting from that? Online, are you benefiting? Let me see thumbs up on Facebook, on YouTube, on Zoom. Let me see if this is being beneficial, because you can see I've ran out of water. No, I haven't. I mean, I want to feel. The people on the ground are very responsive. I want to see the response online. Thank you very much. Thank you for those thumbs up. I wouldn't want to spend my Saturday morning giving you junk. I would really like, by every Saturday you come, there's an increment. And although the visibility, depending on what the seed you're planting, may not be the same, I still want to see somebody having a transformation. Thank you for all those responding on Facebook. Thank you those responding online, Zoom and YouTube. So number 2, and this is critical in establishing how to tap your hidden treasure. Remember, God has already said, and this is not giving to a chosen few. What God is offering to us is giving to the entire body of Christ. So don't say this is for Akina Lucas and Akina Helen and Akina Kiragu and Akina Harriet and Akina Tatiana. This is not for Akina Anne and Akina Mike. This is for all of us. So when I talk to you, I would like you to come and challenge me and ask me, so you talked about this. Can you demonstrate? And I'll take you to a place where we sat with Mike and Helen in Malindi, and we wrote a strategy. And we've been implementing, not the whole strategy at once. I think we agreed that the whole strategy will be implemented in 10 years. We started in 2018. Was it 2018? When we wrote in 2018. Okay, something like that. So every year, whatever happens, I make sure that that strategy is moving one step. So number 2, make sure that you start living within your means every day. Let me tell you, so many people are struggling because they write, but they don't implement. They strategize, but they do not apply. Now, when you borrow, you must never borrow food. You must never borrow shelter. You must never borrow clothing. You borrow for business. And the reason you borrow for business is because you use other people's resources to enhance your vision. You use other people's resources to present yourself to get better resources. So you live within your means and earn 10% more every hour than you spend in that hour. One of the areas that I found very financially resourceful is in agribusiness, real estate, and industrialization. And I'm involved in all the 3: agriculture, real estate, and industrialization. And I'm spending everything within my ability and capacity to enter into the processing space. And as I enter into those spaces, I'm investing heavily because I know once you're in the processing industry, you are getting the very best. But now if you're in the agribusiness and you're doing agro-processing, then you're even getting greater. And remember, you don't have to be great. This week, I'm discussing introducing solutions for mosquitoes. And when we worked out how to produce the mosquito sticks, we are not importing anything. We use the pyrethrum that we grow here in Kenya. We use the sticks that grow well in any forest. We combine the different chemicals that work within the organic space. This is things that extracts of oils that are extracted from flowers, and you come up with a solution. God willing, that could be something that will be in the market maybe in the next less than 6 months. And I'll come and show you, just the way I'm showing you something. Can you get me something to show them? There's some stickers in that one. If you look, there is a back of them. This was not existing the last time I saw you. I showed you. I'll be getting them shortly. So make sure you are earning every day. When you sit down and ask yourself, what is the next source of income? Now, today we are living in an exciting one. You don't need to leave your house to earn. Hello? Are we together? Most of most of my resources, just one is now, I just read one, and that's the other one I was talking about. Most of my income comes from writing. I write business proposals. I write financial applications. And some of them, maybe they're just one page. And I do for somebody who is easily to qualify to get the money. And when they get the money, I get my cuts. And some of this money is not a lot of money. But just imagine if you're just getting your 10,000 here, 5,000 here, 100,000 here, 1 million there, 2 million there. Because the more you do it, the more better you become. But this one, this is amazing. This one, those who cannot see, I don't know, can somebody make it off here? Is it visible there? Can you see it properly? Those who are in the room, can you see the thing? Is it visible properly? Give me thumbs up online. Yeah, there. Is it better now? You're seeing it. Okay. So this idea came over Christmas period. These stickers will be in most of the cars and most of the shops, and they'll be everywhere. The use of this sticker is increasing my revenue by 60%. When somebody calls and they say that they want our locally produced pineapples, if somebody calls and says they want our pineapples delivered, we call it B2C. We bypass all the other selling. Okay. Don't worry, there's nobody who's been beaten. It's just causes of nature. There's a bit of wind. The wind is just being heavy on where we are, and we cannot control that sound. So what I wanted to say is that you think and you act. So yesterday somebody called. They saw this sticker in a car, and they said, "Can I get 1,000 kgs? That's 1 ton of pineapple next week." And because we have so much in our farm, that just brings an exponential growth of our business. But you thought, you sat down, you did something, and you said, okay, at the moment, per ton, I'm getting 50,000. If I put it online, per ton, I'll be getting 110, 120,000. Are you seeing the difference? But you have to do something, and it doesn't have to be very big. You may not be the one who produces the pineapple, but you could go online and start selling the pineapple, and you source them from us, and you don't have to pay a penny. You just collect the money and tell the person, deliver in Karen, 20 kgs, deliver in Kiambu, 30 kgs, deliver Utawara, 100 kgs. So it is the supplier who's doing all the delivery, and you're receiving the money, and you're paying the supplier, and you're making your margin. And if you're faithful, if your clients pay you, and you pay your supplier faithfully, you're almost making double profits, because and you're doing it in the comfort of your home. But that's just the pineapples that I grow. Just imagine anything else you can sell, even from the supermarket. You go to the supermarket, you see what they're selling at the supermarket, you advertise it online. Are you not getting my point? And people start buying. And all what you do is to get a rider to one supermarket and deliver, and you make your margin. Because there's so many people who don't want to use their brain. There's so many people who don't want to engage. There's so many people who don't want to be inconvenienced. That's one category. Then there are other people who are so busy. They don't even have time to breathe. They don't have time to cook. They don't have time to sleep. So this is another target. And isn't it a better target? Because the reason they don't have that time is because they have the money. The inconvenience, Kirago is laughing at me because yesterday we were coming towards the end of the day of fasting, and we had been so busy with things, and I just had to tell Abu Dabuda, can you see a butcher somewhere near? Do they choma? Can you go and get it and get some cooked vegetables? So all what Kirago and I and Helen had to do was to do a bit of ugali quickly and eat, because we were preparing for another meeting before we prepared for the overnight prayer meeting. So there's those markets. So me, I'm not teaching you pie in the sky when I die. I'm teaching you simple practical things that you can do in a simple way. That I'm involved in, I'm able to identify opportunities that I don't necessarily have to put in my own resources. Because there are people with a lot of resources, and they are looking for people to convert those resources into cash. And there's a margin there. This is small margin. And I can tell you 100 other opportunities we are disconnected.
Be struggling. I think you turned your back quickly and everybody else is back. And there was a small internet problem there. So I'm speaking to you something very critical, and I want to make sure that you're not missing it out. Because if you miss it, you have then missed everything. I want to make sure that you start to discover the hidden treasures of darkness. Gone are the days. All the hidden treasures. Then reveal them to you. And once you develop that relationship of using that what God has given you, develop something that is called multiplying. I learned in the year 2005 from a pastor that I still highly respect, called Peter J. Daniels, that the mind of a human being is elastic. The more you use it, the more it expands. Called. So my notes have disappeared. That's why you can see I'm not going as fast as I was going before. But we are on point number 2, strategy number 2, where you have to make sure every day you are yourself. I never is what that has meant or what that has done and the impact that has had is an amazing thing. Because I'm able to adjust almost every day. I know when to give your bonus services, because I've been very I need to earn. I know when to rest and even when to take a holiday because I've exceeded my targets. So we all know we have targets, and those targets are based on the lifestyle and the commitment that you have. So if you're paying for 3, 4, 5 people education, secondary and university, if you have to feed your family, and if you have to have a comfortable I like nice cars, I like big cars. If you're going to have time out,
then you factor all these things and then reduce that to a daily activity. Don't work it 365 days. I would even encourage you to go the British system and do it per hour. When you do your planning and engage every hour of your day, every day of your life, every week, every month, every year, you'll be able to find that you're starting to save a lot of space. You can be able to take a nice holiday because your earning has superseded your demands. And then, like those old people, that culture of the old, you have to know what you're putting in your saving basket. And you must never feel guilty when people appear as if they're
is that you have to pay yourself back. You have to pay yourself back for everything that you spend. This is just a formula that I found it working. I utilized it a lot when I was young. And then when I got my family, there was so many challenges and I was not able to use it. I stopped paying myself back of the money I used. And therefore, I was not stretching myself. Then in 2018, I decided I want to be replacing my car every 5 years. So I buy a new car and within 5 years, I replace it. So I started paying myself for the car. And it was working very well. Now, I'm not paying myself for a car anymore. I just pay myself to have some nice security bonds, treasury bonds, all the kind of bonds that you think about, and to have some money in the banks, not as deposits, but as investments. So you have to learn. And when you're paying yourself, don't put that money in a place you can easily access it. Make it difficult for you. Make it difficult to access that money. Because when it has grown up, it will be a beautiful companion. When you need that kind of money, a time can come when your brain and your body and everything else that you are gets so tired, but you still want to eat well, you want to continue retaining the same kind of lifestyle, you want to have resources, and you don't want to be dependent on other people. So don't make that money accessible. Keep it as far away as possible. I see today we have people in my level, we call it the 5th level, and I can also see maybe people in the 2nd level. We don't have the first level. No, we normally have from 0 to 10, that's level 1. 10 to 20 is level 2. 20 to 30 is level 3. 30 to 40 is level 4.
So what I'm trying to say is that if you learn to pay yourself, don't pay yourself too much, just 10%. 10% of everything. So if today I go and buy a laptop, I'm not talking about company money. That's those of you who have companies, that's not your money. I'm talking about your personal money, that which you get paid by your business, that which you get paid through your investments, that whatever you get paid. So if you spend 100 bob, just for argument's sake, to get a laptop, take another 10. So assume the laptop was 110 and keep the 10 aside. If you go and buy a suit, 10,000 bob, you take 1,000 bob and put it aside. Assume the suit was 100, was 10,000, was 11,000. Are we together? Now, I'm not talking about assets like houses and cars. I'm just talking about the normal day-to-day. About those, because they'll discourage you. But if you start by, when you go to the supermarket, you do your shopping, 5,000 bob, and you take 500 and put it aside, you get into a matatu, 200 bob, you take 20 bob, you put aside, and you just say the fuel has gone up. Give yourself a reason. Convict yourself why you have to pay the matatu price higher. Convince yourself why you have to pay the supermarket more. Convince yourself why you have to pay the electronic company more. You just said, if today they say that the fuel has gone up by 100 bob, will you still fuel your car? If they say the prices in the supermarket have gone back up with 200 bob, will you still buy food and eat? So that is the theory behind it. It is something that is workable. We do it anyway, whether we impose it on ourselves or not. So what I've done myself, I have multiple accounts. Some of the accounts are in SACCO, savings and credits. You have a BOSA and a FOSA account. So I don't put my money, those kind of money, I never put them in BOSA, in FOSA. I put them in BOSA. That means I have to write to the bank when I need that money. And for me to get the time to write to the SACCO or to the bank is hard. The other day, I sat with a bank where I was putting little money. And they said, you must be having like 1.5 million. What do you want to do with it? I said, I want to put it where it can give more fruits, where it can bear more. I want to put it where it will give me more results. Are we together? You're not getting my points. So you don't, even when there's destitution and desperation, that's not your money. That is money that went to fuel level. That's money that went to the supermarket. That is money that went. Those are my hidden treasures. So we have talked about hidden treasures theoretically. We have talked about hidden treasures practically. And now we're talking about hidden treasures in investment. And each of these categories is critical in the way you're going to progress in your wealth making. So first of all, you stop demonizing wealth. Because most of us, that's where they start. About the rich young ruler, about the needle of the eye, about the rich man who never got to heaven, and all those things. And they are good stories, but they don't teach us to be poor. They were not put in the Bible to teach us to pursue poverty. They were not put in the Bible to teach us to pursue negativity. They were put in the Bible to teach us other values, like caring for others, like being mindful for the needs of others. They were put in the Bible to teach us not to let the money get into our heads, not to get the wealth get into our head. But I believe that there's so many wealthy people in heaven, like Abraham. I know because it's written in the Bible. And Abraham was one of the richest men who ever lived. After dealing with his practical challenges, and after separating with Lot, who was a lot of trouble, and God had not told him to take Lot with him. He was just emotional. He was sympathetic. My brother died, and now God has called me. Am I going to leave my nephew alone? I would rather take my nephew with me. God will take care of everything he has created. And if God doesn't tell you to take your nephew, you might as well leave your nephew. If God has not told you to take your uncle, you might as well leave your uncle, because they might become lots of trouble in your journey. So you have to know, what does God want? So in short, that point I wanted to say that Abraham is one of the very best people, and he's in heaven. David, if you look at the last stories of David when he was building the temple, he gave so much. I can give you in current US dollars, and you'll be shocked how much David gave those days. They just used the right investment principles. They used what God had given them, and give it a multiplier effect. So it's good to analyze. It's good to always have an analysis of what you are doing. So start analyzing every day how your financial curve is working. If you are a Christian, ask God to give you wisdom, and he will certainly show you his direction on this matter. That's again how you get the hidden treasures. When you look around and nothing seems to work. We were driving from the farm with my wife just before the New Year, and I needed a specific amount of money that evening to use the following morning. And we juggled our mind, we liked talking, and then she decided to get into a restaurant to pick something, and she left me in the car. And I said, God, show me where these treasures are. Just me. God, I pray that you show me. I prayed 3 times. God, I pray that you show me. God, I pray that you show me. God, I pray that you show me. 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then after I prayed, I started now to think, because the first step always is to commit everything to God. The first thing is always to ask God, show me. How do you want me to move on with this? How do you want this one? Then you use your brain to analyze the situation, to look at how things are going, to look at the circumstances and this environment. And God will drop something. He will either tell you, go and sell your chicken, or he said, go and sell that piece of land, or he said, tell you, call that person, or he said, you call your bank manager. There will always be a solution. God will always give us a solution to fulfill his mandate. So God just gave me one person. I said, hello, brother. I need 700,000 tomorrow morning. And for those of you who are Kenyans, 700,000, not many people who just make it available. And to my surprise, he said, give me your bank account. But I did not call everybody. I did not call all my brothers and all my sisters and all my aunties and all my uncles. I just called that one person because I prayed, and God pointed out where that treasure is going to come from. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. Life becomes easy. God gives you the right networks, but you have to do an analysis. You have to look at the whole environment so that when God is pointing you, you already have an understanding. I said this in our first meeting, that you must develop a financial plan and a revenue plan. I made it very clear, and the reason I'm repeating it is because some of you who are here who are not in that, there's no way you can start journeying towards wealth and not have a financial plan. Because most of the wealth, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in bonds, whether it's in vehicles or whatever area, industries, there has to be a financial plan. And this is my last point for today. Number 1, your hidden treasures have to be evaluated. So you have to always do an evaluating, you have to always evaluate your finances. This is the first step towards financial freedom. Evaluating your revenue streams versus your expenditure. What are your revenue streams? What are your expenditures? What are you dealing with? What are you anticipating to do? What will you need? You don't wait until somebody asks you. For instance, nowadays, when I'm setting up new businesses, when I'm being paid, because I get paid, there's a set of documents that is going to be needed every time. I know people, when they ask these documents, it takes them a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I make a commitment that all those documents are sitting on my fingertip. So in most places, whether I go to the counties and the counties want to give me a consultancy or they want to give me a job, and they say, do you have this? You have this? You have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? And I just give them the documents as they ask, or they write for me a big list and they say, go and look for these things. When you get them, you bring them back. I say, don't worry, they are all here. Do you take them in soft or you want them in hard copies? They say, we want them in soft. We want them hard copies. I send them to the nearest. I say, is there a cyber anywhere near here? Yes, give me the email address. Is there a rider? Yes, rider. Enda kwa hiyo cyber, kuna document zangu, huwa tuwekee kwa bahasha, leta ofisi ya governor. Are we together? And I've just used that as one illustration. So many people lose so many opportunities because of unpreparedness. You are not evaluating your situation. You are not packaging yourself properly to be able to move to the next level. I can see you're getting very interested in this. Are you really getting yourself ready? Do you have an ID? Do you have a passport? Do you have a visa? You know, whatever you're thinking to do, you don't wait until the time these things are going to happen. When Kenya introduced the new passport, I was looking at my new passport, and I think I was maybe number 500. Yes, I was 507 of the new Kenyan passport. I didn't need it. I still don't need a Kenyan passport to go most of the places I go in the world. But I was number 507 of the new Kenyan passport. Why? Because I want to always be ready. I want to make sure that whatever I want to do, I'm not being limited by things that I could already be having and taking around it. Bank statements. I don't allow myself to hang around with a lot of money in my private account and in other accounts. I put the money into business. I make my business account a multi-million business account all the time. So that if I have an urgency or an emergency and the bank needs to give me money, the struggle will not be whether I can pay or not. The struggle will not be whether I can demonstrate capacity or not. They may have their other personal struggles. Keeping yourself tidy. Always calling the credit reference bureau to check what is your status, because nowadays there's some crazy people who are stealing their identity and they are borrowing online. Last year, I found somebody had borrowed 48,000 in my name. 48,000. So you go and clear those. You make sure if people are doing things in your name, you clear. One of my staff took my phone and went and do Fuliza, 10,000. And because I trust, I'm a very trusting person, people know my PIN numbers. They did Fuliza. And because I cannot think about Fuliza, it just continued there, Fuliza. And then one day, this time when they were reporting, you are changing your phones, I go and they say, do you know, we've been owing so much money for Fuliza for such a long time. I said, no. Can you trace back? Can you tell me which number? When the money was Fuliza, where did it go? And this guy didn't know how to hide the evidence. So he had transferred it from my account to his account and thought everything would be okay. But I'm very gracious. I forgave him and told him to go and never do the same thing again. But you have to be diligent. Check your M-Pesa accounts, check your bank accounts, check your credit referencing, check these things. How can you be wealthy? And there are people who are already infiltrating your credit referencing, your credit rating with debt that you're not. But sometimes it could even just be a simple mistake. Banks make mistakes. It could be the credit reference. Somebody used an ID, or they were genuinely using their ID number, but missed one digit, and it ended up being your number. I was talking to somebody last week who was contacted by Central Bank because they were following some flow of money. And because his ID and the ID of this person missed each other with a digit and their names were the same, he was called and implicated. So how do you deal with that? Number two, financial balancing strategy. I cannot overemphasize the need for a financial balancing strategy. For you to enjoy financial freedom, you must develop a financial balancing strategy. You can use a traditional method like a daily balance sheet, or develop one that will work for you. I was using just a simple Excel where I put in what's coming in and put out what is going out. And at the end of the day, it will just show me every day out see. But then I decided I want to become more proactive, because sometimes when you do things online, when you do things in your laptop, you may not get the actual benefit. So I decided I want to be writing it myself. And then at the bottom of it, I write my prayers and I write my deficit. I write my goals. So I don't have an annual goal anymore. I have an hourly goal. I have a daily goal. And I've reduced my what do you call it? My schedule. So my schedule used to look very busy. Nowadays, I have 2 commitments in a day, and then I can fill in the rest of the day with what I want to fill it with. And I found that being so amazing. So amazing. You're in charge. Yesterday, I went for a haircut, and I decided just to relax there for the rest of the day. I accomplished more than many people who went to offices and other places, because you have a very clear goal, you have a very clear strategy, you have a very clear, what do you call it? You have clear plans of how you want things to go. I'll give you an example. In 2009, I used to have on average 5 to 6 meetings in Nairobi, because I would come from the UK and I would only be here like for a week or maybe 5 days. And these meetings used to be spread between Lamada Hotel, Safari Park Hotel, Karen Club, this other sports club here. What is it called? The sports club that's not very far from here. Is it Pangani? Not Pangani. Parklands. So what that meant is that I would finish a meeting in Safari Park very quickly, rush into Karen, do a meeting in Karen very quickly, come to Parkland Sports Club, then go to Ramada Hotel. So in a day, I could have done easily 100, 150 kilometers of going and wasted a lot of time in between these places. So in 2014, I made up my mind that I would do all my meetings in one place. And most likely, if I have to go to see somebody, then where I go to see that one person, I'll identify a place where I do all the other meetings. It saved my health, saved my energy, given me more hours and given me more time. So balancing there comes in, that you're not spending all this money, you're not having drivers waiting for you in the car the whole day. There's so much that you're able to manage. And that makes it very beneficial for you. But then you want to balance that in numbers and in action and in physical, practical application. So how do I apply this strategy to work in my life? So you're not just saying, I want to make sure I'm spending less, because that's not what you may need for your life. At a certain stage of your business, at a certain stage of your life, you may need to spend more, because it's the investment part of your life. But what you could do is to cut the costs that are not necessary, so you don't have to move around the whole town. I gave a practical illustration earlier on, where you could be sourcing all your products from about 10 different supermarkets, and you have a niche market. Let me give you a beautiful one, Harriet. I know you're the one who needs to make the most money as soon as possible. Anybody else in Harriet's category? who wants to make a lot of money. So you want to make some money? Seriously. Very seriously. Online, anybody who believes that they want to make a big difference? This is something that just landed in my mind when I was praying for today. And the idea is to specialize on a product. So you continue with your normal life, but you say, I'm going to specialize, say, on health product. And not all health, I'm going to specialize on sight. How do people see properly? So you do your research online, you create your information, you create a database of opticians. Are they called opticians? Where did the opticians come from? Opticians, you create a database of opticians, you create a database of people who have had sight problem and they have recovered, or so you create a very good database, and then you look for products, very good products that deal with eyes and eyesight, from glasses, eye salve, those things you put in the eye, what do you call them? The ones you put inside. They're like glasses, but you put them inside the eye. Contact lenses. Contact lenses. You look at the things that people apply around their eyes. You look at the drip for people like me, sometimes who work very hard and eyes can tend to get lead. Sometimes you get that. So you have your line of your products. You have your line of information. You have your line of knowledge. Then if you're not a very good public speaker, you look for a nice young lady or a nice young man to be presenting for you on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on these other networks. You identify a good person. And at every presentation, you make an offer. So today you are offering leading glasses. You're offering leading glasses cases, contact lens, you call it contact lenses. You are offering eye drops. You are offering eye cleaning solutions. So you have an offer, and it's all you are able to get them in bulk. You are able to partner with a supplier, and you say, this week I'll be promoting your shop, I'll be promoting your eyeglasses, I'll be promoting this, and I'll be selling at 10% less or 20% less. Then you get your margin. You go in. Simple. You don't even have to be an online expert. But if you want to build your following, if you want to become an influencer, or if you want to trend, you can also create that. Simple ways that don't cost much. All what you need is a good smartphone or a laptop or something like that. It helps you to balance your finances. It helps you to create a strategy that will take you to the next level. And it could be as simple as that necklace you're wearing. You see that beautiful Kenyan necklace? You can be promoting them. You're getting them at 50 bucks, 100 bucks, and you're selling them online at 120. Then you put together a client base. Are we together? So financial balancing is not just about writing. It's about thinking, what is it that I can do that will up my revenue and down my expenses? So if you're able to finish all that and everything that you paid was only data, and you had a pay bill number, please, if you want people to pay you, don't use send money. Go to Safaricom, register a pay bill number. Maybe you might need a company. I don't know what they need to get a pay bill. You can get a pay bill using your bank account. You just go to now, which one am I going to promote? Which bank do you want me to promote? I promote which one? Let's say ABSA. ABSA is 30-30-30. So you have a pay bill number, which is 30-30-30 from you, plus your bank account. Let me be fair. KBC is 522-522. Equity, 247-247. Do I go on? So you already have a pay bill right there. You're already starting to look professional. And you can do that. Other jobs that you can advertise and you don't have to have the investment is printing business cards, posters, booklets, t-shirts. and you don't have to invest any money. You just need to know a company that is doing that. You go online, but you have to have something attractive that makes people want to hear and follow you. Then you connect with people who are followed more so that you have more followership. So if you have an uncle, an auntie, a grandfather, a grandparent, that is a deeper way of balancing your finances towards wealth making. Number 3, achieving your goals. Once you have established a working financial plan and you have established a financial balancing strategy, the next major step is setting up goals that are achievable. I've established, and this is scientifically proven, that over 80% of the Kenyan population don't operate with goals. You didn't get my point. I've established scientifically, and it's proven that over 80% of the Kenyan population don't operate with goals. They wake up, they go to bed, and wake up and go to bed. When they wake up, masses will head to industrial estates, to coffee farms, to flower farms, and they are at the masses of these farms until retirement. Then when they retire, they walk into the pension house for the next 5-6 years before they get 20,000 or 25,000 as their pension. Then that lenders them into going back into their gardens and their shambas, the small peas and farming, where they just grow enough maize to take them through for half the year. And the rest of the year, they'll be hustling. No wonder what I said earlier, we enter into a dependency culture. We enter into a scarcity mentality culture. I want you to distinguish yourself and fit in the less than 20% Kenyans who operate on very clear goals, who follow their goals consistently to get where they need to go. And don't send over ambitious goals. Just put goals that you can achieve. And every time you achieve a goal, you reward yourself. My first goal when I was 18 was to have a suit, and not just one suit. I wanted to make sure that I'm changing my suit. That was a goal. And when I got the suits, I rewarded myself with a tie. And I've been on suits since I was 18 up to now. I used to admire people who had suits. I don't know what it was in suits that I liked, but I still like them. They have gone out of fashion, but I still like them. They come back to fashion and they find me there. But the point I'm saying, I set that goal when I was less than 18. I remember I just finished Form 4. I was preparing to do my A-levels, and that was a goal. And when my friend requested me to become a linesman in his wedding, and I got my first suit, I'll never forget. I went to the Mutumba and bought myself a nice car. I can show you photographs. But you see, you start with simple goals. And as you get those small, simple goals, you reward yourself and go for the next goal and reward yourself. At 19, I bought my first plot. I can take you there. That was my second goal. To live independent of my parents and not pay rent. At the age of 19, I bought my plot. At the age of 20, I built my own house. It's not a fancy house. It was just a matope house, but it was unique. Let me tell you, it was the only house in the whole of that area that had louvers windows. Do you know louvers windows? Anybody who has an idea of the louvers windows? And then I used to put some flowers, these flowers that you can propagate. They were there on the window and I had a nice curtain I had bought from the Gikomba. And I used to invite people on Sunday. It feels so good. We used to call them coffee houses. So every Sunday afternoon after church, you see wazee wa kanisa everybody, and I would give them coffee and mandazis. I used to be a businessman. I was running at the age of 20. I was running my own restaurant. And I used to have mandazi, and I used to have teas and coffees, and I became a very influential person because people came to my house, they got ideas and all that. Short after that, I was airlifted. Just the way Elijah was taken. It's just that I didn't go to heaven, I went to UK. I just went to UK. And let me tell you, I established a culture. My brother can tell you, my big brother Simon can tell you. Every year, I was writing my goals. And every year, I was achieving my goals within 6 months. The goals for the year, 6 months. Now, do you want me to surprise you? The goals I wrote for 2023, I've achieved all of them before the 21st of January. And these were not small goals. My goodness, they're mind-boggling goals. They are huge goals. Huge. I had set them for the whole of 2023. And I started to pray. And just God started to open the doors. And he was opening them like crazy. I told you yesterday, I sat in a saloon, and the whole day we were just signing documents and getting payments and signing documents and signing documents. I didn't leave that place until what time did we leave that place? No, when we got home, it was almost, yeah. So we left, say around 4, 5. No, it must have been after 5, because I remember calling the bank and telling me they have shut. But anyway, the point I'm trying to say, I sat in that place from morning up to evening, just getting achievements of what I've trusted God for this year. So what am I going to do? Now that I had set such a small target, I want to tell you, you can set your targets, and I want to tell you, God will help you to meet them. He says, commit your ways unto the Lord, and he will reward you with great success. Finally, you have to monitor your finances. That was my greatest weakness. And I want to say everything I'm writing here is what I live. There's nothing I talk to you that is not within my life. And this is something that you can count. So I said, instead of helping people with money, which I can, I decided I'll give you something that has worked in my life so that it can work for you. And it can bring changes, it can bring transformation, it can impact you. So in the sequence that I've given, you must develop methodology of monitoring your finances. It is one thing to have a financial balancing strategy, but it is another one to run out of the finances because of not monitoring them. We call it leakages. We call it, is it hemorrhaging? Yeah, what do you say? When you're losing a lot of blood, what do you call it? Okay, that is it. It starts with H and there's a G somewhere. You lose so much blood. You lose so much of what is you. And that's happening. That's why you see some people, they come up and they prosper so fast. They're doing so well. I came up from a city where people used to start either matatu business or bus business, and you do so well within a very short time. And there are people we knew very well. Some of them we went to primary school together. And then after 3, 4, 5 years, they have nothing. Why? Because they did not have monitoring strategies. They didn't have strategies of financial management. They didn't have strategies of making sure that that which was coming to them was returned. The other way of monitoring finances is looking at what you are doing. What is it that is permanent and what is it that is temporary? So many investors or so many people, when they get money, they put it into something called downward investments. So you put so much premium on things that don't bring anything to you. Are you getting the point? Are we together? You're putting so much resources on things that can never give you anything back. One of the things that I invest in a lot, like today I was buying, every day I'm buying is land. I buy land, I buy property. Because the only way land and property can go is very rarely in anywhere in the world will you invest in land and the value goes down. So I'm a big land buyer. As I've said, I started buying when I was 19. I bought land and properties outside this country. And I find it to be a very good way of storing your money and not being worried. Because once if you put it in a house, it doesn't only pay you back. In 2005, I bought a house for 5.8 million. Yesterday, that house was being valued. It was valued at 30 million. Bought at 5.8, valued at 30 million. In the meanwhile, that house has been rented by diplomats, it's been rented by professionals, it's been rented by all sorts of people. I'll not be surprised, maybe it has given me half of that amount of money in the last 20 years, or just about 20 years. So it's critical that you ask yourself, when I get these resources, where do I put them? And sometimes you not even have them. I remember, this is crazy. When I bought that house, I didn't have a penny. Look at me properly. I'm telling you the truth. My wife can bear me witness. I went to pray. We were struggling financially, and I took a full week of prayer and fasting, and I went to the highlands of Scotland. And one of the things that God told me when I was in the highlands, He'll give me a house. So when I arrived, I said, Daddy, God has promised to give us a house in a nice place in Nairobi. So what? The way things look like? I believe because I know God speaks to me. It didn't take 3 months. From the time I came from the mountain to the time we got the house, we had now to rush the people who were selling us the house because the money was available. What I'm trying to say is that when you are strategic, when you're following these plans, God will then show you the hidden treasures. And He will also show you what to do, because everything that He shows you, it has a purpose. There's a reason for God to show you everything that He's showing you. So how do I want to conclude our talk today? I had promised that I'll not keep you very long. I just want to conclude by showing you how you can progress financially. Once you've gotten your hidden treasures, once you've gotten the resources that God has already assigned for you, how do you progress? You've heard people talk of financial growth. For you to have a financial freedom, you have to grow your money. And growing your money is directed by your financial culture. How do you view money? What are your money beliefs? Where does your money live? What is the physical and the spiritual health of your money? How do you treat or relate with your money? For your money to grow and to progress, the above questions have to be answered regularly. They are key financial growth. I know I've repeated this every meeting. Every meeting, I don't conclude without asking you, how do you view money? Is it the root of all evil? Is it the money that makes people not to enter the kingdom of God? Is it that substance that makes people enter into corruption? Is it that substance that makes people enter into immorality and lust of the things of this world? What does money look like to you? Because your view could be completely different. It is the money that builds the hospitals, sends missionaries to mission, is the money that educates children, is the money that feeds the destitute, the money that feeds you, creates employment, is the money that gives you ability to travel around the world and see what God has created. It is the resources that makes you healthy, because you can pay for your medical bills, you can buy the right food so that you don't have to chemicalize your body with mass-grown commercial food. So your view for money is critical, because you can never get wealth if you don't respect money. You didn't get my point. If you don't respect money, you'll never be wealthy, because money will resist you. Money will flee from you. You work so hard to get it, but you hardly put it in your pocket before it disappears. Your view for money is important. What are your money beliefs? What do you believe about money? What do you believe about money? Do you believe that money was meant to be spent, such that when you get all your money, you spend the same day? Or are you like this guy? There used to be a movie here when I was in primary school. It was called Ponda Mali Kufa Kwaja. Is your money for pondering because death is coming? It's very important to ask yourself that question. What is the physical and the spiritual health of your money? Your money has to have a physical health to grow and a spiritual health to benefit you. So you have to pray for your money. You have to safeguard your money. You have to make sure that you are pruning your money. You have to give your tithe. You have to give seeds. You have to be generous. One thing I learned in September after producing this booklet, remember I told you I went to the US after producing this booklet. I learned to sow in the morning, sow in the noontime, sow in the evening, and sow when the sun goes down. Because you don't know whether it's this one or all will produce. So the health of your money is based on how much you are investing on other people. How generous are you in the things of God? How generous are you in your community? When people in your community have need, do they consider you as one of the people to be contacted? You know, I used to complain. I used to say, am I the only one? Is there nobody else they can talk to? And then the Lord rebuked me. And he said, I've put you there strategically for such a time as this. I've put you there for such a time as this.
You know, you're only going to pick for a few items. And then you look at the cards. Never has such big.
Can we get some water from the back? Is there some water? Okay, it's coming. Yeah. So it's important to know that God blesses you so that you can be a blessing. And when we lose sight, thank you very much. When we lose sight of what God is doing in our lives, when we lose sight of what God has done for us, what God has given us, we then become arrogant, we become proud, we become selfish, and we start heading in the wrong direction. And mostly the results will always be disastrous. So today I want us to ask ourselves, I want us to challenge ourselves. What is the health of our finances? And finally, how do you treat or relate with your money? Some people, their money have them. The money owns them. Everything is about their wealth. They're arrogant. We have seen mainly in these Nigerian movies. You have seen how arrogant people can be when they have a lot of money. But you have also seen it in real life. You've seen people kick out people from their homes, from their cars, from their businesses, from their offices. I know of people who open doors to their friends and they say, get out of my office. I don't want to see you in my face. Is that what money makes you? Does money make you so proud and so arrogant? How do you relate with your money? Some people have made the money their God. And that's why the Bible says, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve God and serve money. You love one and hate the other. So money is a tool. Money is a resource. Money is a gift. Money can be used in many ways, but never allow money to use you. Don't let money be your master. For your money to grow and progress, the above questions have to be answered regularly. So I just want to conclude there. I said today I'll do just one straight slot because majority of the people are online. And I believed that I don't want you to use all your data bundles, listening to me and taking breaks and other things. So let me just go back to where I began, because as a teacher, I like giving people a nice conclusion. My topic today was entitled The Hidden Treasures. The Hidden Treasures is part of the words that God has given us for 2023. And the word says, God has opened for us the double doors. He has given us the hidden treasures of darkness and the wealth of the sacred places. I take the word of God verbatim. When God has said he has given me, I don't start looking around. I know he has given me. And even when it's not manifesting, I leave it as if it's manifesting. And I thought to start this series this year I want to show you what hidden treasures look like, where hidden treasures are likely to be, and how we can address our hidden treasures. I used a biblical illustration of a man who was working on a farm. And when he saw treasure in that farm, he quickly rushed and sold everything that he had. I gave a practical illustration of how you can address that kind of a situation in today's age. Last year, 2020, I met a sister called Lydia. The Lord had revealed to me that He was going to give me a property along the bypass. I didn't know where to start, but I know I had told Reverend Nicholas and a few others, I'm trusting God for a property that He has promised me along the bypass. Then we were sitting somewhere in the waterfront, and without me verbalizing, this friend said, I have a property in the northern bypass, and actually it's visible along the road, and this is the size of property. Now, that's not normal. You don't get one person with 3 plots in the same place, in one place. So for me, that was a hidden treasure, and there was a way to get it. So I tried to see whether I can get bank financing. And that lady said, me, I think God said, He'll give you the money to buy the thing outright. So I don't want you to be under pressure to go and get money from the bank. Let's together trust God. Believe me or not, that property was bought cash and God provided. So I was saying, when you see the hidden treasure, you may not have everything that you need, but you need to go back to God and ask God, what am I going to do with this treasure that you have given me or you have promised me? What am I going to do? We also looked at the strategies that makes that treasure work for. We looked at 3 distinct strategies, and those who are not there when I gave the strategies, please follow these recordings after. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook. I don't know whether we were able to record on Zoom, but at least those 2 should be beneficial, and you'll be able to see the step-by-step strategy that is repeated again and again by all the wealthy people I know, all the biblical, all the people that God has used to demonstrate wealth: Abraham, Solomon, David, Joseph, and many others. The principles are the same, the strategies are the same. I talked about goals, and I said things that we have to deal with, things that we have to fight against, things that we have to remove in our minds to be able to make this breakthrough. All these are foundational teachings that are going to help us to build towards the 10 years of being billionaires, dollar billionaires. These are steps that you can follow, and without anybody's assistance, you can achieve that which you are desiring. And I talk about it because it's worked for me. Am I having struggles? Yes, I do. Do some things fail to work? Yes, they fail to work. Are sometimes very hard? Yes, it can. The other day, I was illustrating to my friend that I've realized there's a category of billionaires that is called the barefoot billionaires. Why are they barefoot? Because they have a lot of assets and have no liquidity. If you want to learn how to overcome that, I'm just at that verge of that breakthrough. I'm in the breakthrough of having assets, having liquidity, and enjoying what God has given you. So I just want us to conclude. I'll give people a few opportunities to ask questions. You can ask from the Zoom. You can ask from the Facebook. We are going to enjoin you if you just put a text and say you want to ask a question or make a comment, and then we'll conclude. Today, we are not doing all the other exercises that we do because most of the people are joining us online, but we'll see how to do it. I'll also be posting a question at the end, so don't go. Because it seems as if we are getting follow-up from different parts of the city and the country, it could be that people prefer to be having this online, which then will become very beneficial for me because I don't have to travel all the way from Malindi or from the UK or wherever I am to come and do it in Nairobi. So we'll answer that, and you can just text your preferences and tell us why. So any question, maybe inside, outside, the microphone is available. I'll answer a minimum, sorry, I'll not give the number, let me just be open. If you are trying to ask online, just lift up your hand and we are going to give you the microphone. Kirago, you can take the microphone. Okay, if you want to ask online, Mike will give you the opportunity. Any question? Okay, can you read, Kirago? There might be questions on the Facebook. Without turning it around, just can be and read it from there. Just check. Okay, we are checking whether there's some questions on the Facebook. No? Okay, it seems as if there's no questions externally and internally. That means that you want me to rest early because it was a long night and a long day. Oh, yes, there's a question. Oh, okay, there's no question. Thank you. So I think that then that's fine. I'm just wondering whether that's a question. Kira will check again, these messages coming on the Facebook. Is that a question? The last one? No, the one that, no. Okay, I just want to thank you so much for taking your time to be part of this new program, To The Point. I was praying yesterday and I felt strongly that this is something I want to invest in heavily in terms of my personal time. And I'll do it more often if people prefer it online, then I don't have to wait until the third Saturday of the month. So I'll continue to upload more information. The reason I didn't send any books in the last 2 months, because nobody commented about the 5 books that I gave you free. And somebody had told me, my good friend, Dr. Michael Chitwood from the United States, he said he never gives Christians anything for free. I said, what are you talking about? He said, Christians don't respect free things. I said, you're not serious. He said, I looked at my father. His father was a lawyer. He was such a generous man. And he gave Christians and gave them and gave them. And the more he gave them, the more they struggled, the more poorer they became. So I've stopped giving free books. I was giving in the group. If you want any book, I have about 70, 80 nice books that can help you. You just be making a contribution, or to start with, it's a very small contribution of 100 bob via M-Pesa. I'll give you the pay bill number. Every time you send 100 bob, you get a new book. Another 100 bob, you get another new book. In terms of the program, I've spoken to my IT team. We've been having 3 sessions so far, but for you to demonstrate your value for these sessions, every session is going to be available. The next 2 sessions, I'll give them free of charge. After that, we are going to come with a figure that demonstrates value for what we are giving. I believe that this will change people's lives. I have a commitment of making 10 billionaires in 10 years. And I hope that one of them or 2 of them will come from this group. If I get all the 10 from this group, I'll be delighted. But if there's no symptoms of getting them here, I want to assure you, I'll get them wherever I can get them from, wherever they are. I love you so much, and I really pray that the Lord will bless you, strengthen you, and encourage you. I'll ask my sister to close for us with the word of prayer.
Let's close with a word of prayer. William, and then the Lord. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we come before you. Thank you for the session that you have given us today. We have met from coming from the other year. This is January. You are starting with us, and we pray that you're going to walk with us along the year, and you're going to see big and great things that you're going to do for us along the way. We commit ourselves and everything that it is that we do, and all the people online and the other people here in this place, we commit our dreams and even our prayers and our desires in your hands, knowing that there is nothing which is too big for you. We thank you for everything. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray and believe. With the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, be with us
Be with
now.
us now and forevermore. Amen.